Spiritual wisdom and practical wisdom walk together. Salt beneath the bed is a symbol. Your choices are the real foundation. If ever someone tells you that without salt you are unprotected, remember what I am teaching you now. Peace is not dependent on objects. Peace flows from order, trust, gratitude, honesty, and release. The salt is only there to help your heart remember what it already knows. You are not bound to rituals. You are guided by wisdom. Little by little, night after night, your body will begin to recognize this rhythm. Prepare gently, place the salt, breathe, release, give thanks, sleep. And in the morning, when you wake, pay attention to the small changes, clearer thoughts, lighter emotions, softer reactions. These are the quiet testimonies that rest has begun to heal you. There are seasons in life when your body gets rest, but your soul still feels tired. You go to bed because you are exhausted, yet you wake up carrying the same heaviness, the same thoughts, the same invisible weight on your chest. And deep inside, you whisper to yourself, why do I still feel like this? Welcome to Joshua Selman Wisdom. Today, I want to take you on a calm and gentle journey, not into fear, not into superstition, but into understanding, awareness, and peace. Because sometimes the reason you do not feel protected is not that life is against you. It is that your inner world has not learned how to release. Tonight, I want to talk to you about something very simple. Something many cultures around the world have practiced for centuries. Placing a small amount of sea salt beneath your bed before you sleep. Not as magic, not as a shortcut, not as a way to control the unseen, but as a mindful act that helps the heart let go and teaches the mind to rest. Salt has always carried meaning. In ancient times, salt represented purity, covenant, preservation, and protection. People used salt not only to flavor their food, but to keep things fresh, to cleanse, to remind themselves that some things are sacred and worth preserving. Even today, salt still carries that symbolism. When you bring it into your space with intention, it becomes a reminder to your soul that everything heavy does not have to sleep with you. So many people lie down at night, but they are not actually resting. They replay arguments, they relive fears, they think about disappointments, they worry about tomorrow, they hold on to guilt, shame, stress, emotional pain, and things that no longer belong to them. The body is on the bed, but the mind is still running. And when the mind refuses to release, sleep cannot heal you. You wake up and feel weaker instead of restored. Placing sea salt under your bed is symbolic. It is a way of saying to your inner world, tonight I choose peace. Tonight I release what I cannot control. Tonight I will not allow heaviness to follow me into my sleep. The act itself is simple, but the intention behind it is powerful, because it teaches your nervous system that nighttime is not for stress. Nighttime is for surrender. I want you to understand this clearly. The salt does not fight your battles for you. The salt is not a miracle worker. The salt is not a replacement for prayer, wisdom, or professional help when needed. Instead, the salt becomes a tool that helps your mind slow down and your spirit become quiet. It tells your thoughts, we are safe. We are allowed to rest now. When you prepare your sleeping space with intention, your whole being begins to respond differently. The room feels calmer. Your breathing becomes slower. Your thoughts stop racing. And slowly, peace returns. Many people report that when they begin this simple ritual, they experience fewer unsettling dreams, less emotional heaviness, deeper rest, and more clarity in the morning. They wake up not only physically refreshed, but spiritually lighter. But it is not because something magical happened under the bed. It is because the soul finally learned to release. And release is a form of protection. When your heart is constantly tense, constantly afraid, constantly burdened, you feel attacked by everything. But when your heart finds peace, strength comes back to you. Peace is not weakness. Peace is strength resting inside you. Tonight, as you listen, I do not want you to rush. Take a slow breath. Allow your shoulders to relax. Allow the noise inside to soften. Too many of us live fast, think fast, fear fast, and even try to sleep fast. Rest is not something you force. Rest is something you receive when your heart is ready. What I am sharing with you tonight is not about chasing instant change or dramatic results. It is about learning a rhythm. The rhythm of letting go at the end of each day. When you place salt beneath your bed, you are teaching yourself a spiritual habit. What happened today does not have the right to control my sleep. My heart belongs to peace. My night belongs to rest. Think about how much your soul carries every single day. Conversations that hurt you, words that stayed inside, situations you could not control, regret, worry, pressure, expectations. All of that builds up quietly. And when you finally lie down, the weight of it presses on you like a blanket you never asked for. You toss, you turn, you wake up tired, and slowly heaviness becomes normal. But it is not normal. You were created to rest. You were designed to recover. Nighttime is not punishment, it is healing. And when you become intentional with your space, your mind begins to remember that truth again. Salt simply becomes a gentle symbol of cleansing, grounding, and protection. A physical reminder that you do not have to carry everything alone. As we continue in this teaching, I am going to show you how to use it safely, when to use it, how long to keep it, what to avoid, and the simple prayer you can whisper before you sleep. But before that, I want you to understand one thing deeply. Nothing that is troubling you right now is stronger than peace. Not fear, not confusion, not heaviness, not the shadows of your thoughts. When peace enters, your heart becomes guarded again. Your mind becomes clear. Your emotions stop shaking. And slowly, your life begins to change from the inside outward. This is not about superstition. This is about healing your relationship with rest. Because when you sleep with intention, you wake with clarity. And when you wake with clarity, you live with strength. Tonight, we begin that journey together. Slow, gentle, peaceful. Learning once again that your night is not a battlefield. It is a sanctuary. Now that your heart has begun to slow down and your mind is opening gently, I want to walk with you a little deeper into this practice. Remember, nothing here is magic. Nothing here forces the unseen. Everything here is about intention, awareness, order, and peace. When we give our night structure, our souls begin to settle. When our souls settle, rest becomes easier. Before you sleep tonight, I want you to prepare slowly. Do not rush. Rushing carries anxiety with it. Move gently, as if you are telling your entire environment, peace is welcome here. First, take a small amount of natural sea salt. Not flavored salt, not chemically processed salt. Simple, clean sea salt. You do not need a lot. Just 1 or 2 small spoonfuls are enough. This is not about quantity. It is about meaning. When you hold it in your hand, take one quiet breath and remind yourself, this is a symbol of cleansing and release. Find a small dish, a cup, or even a piece of paper that can hold the salt. Do not pour it loosely all over the floor. Keep it contained. Order creates peace. Disorder creates tension. Place it gently beneath the bed, preferably somewhere near the center or near where you lay your head. Not because that position has mystical power, but because it is close to the space where your thoughts lie down to rest. When you place it there, you are telling yourself, tonight I choose clarity. Tonight I choose calm. After you place it, do not keep staring at it. Do not sit there wondering if something dramatic will happen. Do not create fear in your imagination. Fear is not invited into this practice. Once you place it, leave it alone. Let the act speak quietly. Let it become background, not obsession. The power is not in staring at the salt. The power is in the peace. Your heart begins to cultivate. Before you lie down, take a final slow breath, not deep and forced, just natural, slow, honest. If you want, you may whisper a short prayer in your own words. Something simple like, tonight I release what I cannot control. I welcome rest. I welcome peace. I am safe. These words are not spells. They are reminders. They help your mind stop wrestling with what is already over. Some people sleep for years with tension inside their bodies, shoulders tight, jaw clenched, heart racing, even dreams feel like battles. But when you begin to slow down intentionally, something within you remembers. You are allowed to be still. Stillness is not laziness. Stillness is healing. So, in this practice, is simply la. Key, placing a small flag in the ground, saying, this space belongs to peace. Leave the salt under the bed overnight. You do not need to keep it there for weeks. You do not need to turn it into a permanent ritual. Usually, 1 night, 3 nights, or 7 nights is enough. Not because of superstition, but because repetition slowly trains your nervous system. It teaches your body that sleep is sacred again. When morning comes, remove it and throw it away. Do not reuse it. Do not taste it. Do not keep it like some sacred object. Its work is symbolic. Once it has served as a reminder, release it and listen carefully. Salt is not stronger than your faith. Salt is not stronger than wisdom. Salt is not stronger than good health practices, counseling, or honest conversations. If you are battling deep anxiety, trauma, or emotional pain, there is no shame in asking for help. This small ritual is not meant to replace healing. It is meant to support a peaceful environment while you heal. Sometimes people ask, what if my dreams become strange? What if I feel emotional? Often when you finally slow down, your heart begins to process things it has been storing. Memories rise, thoughts surface, emotions loosen. Do not panic. Do not fight them. Simply observe, breathe, and let them pass. Like clouds drifting across the sky, they do not stay forever. Peace is patient. Peace waits. Peace holds you gently until the storm inside loses its power. Another important thing, never use this practice out of fear of curses, shadows, spirits, or enemies. Fear gives power to things that should never control you. If your reason for placing salt is terror, then even if you fill your whole house with it, you will not rest. Let your reason be peace, not panic. Let your heart say, I am building order. I am creating calm. That mindset changes everything. You may notice small changes. Sleep feels deeper. Waking up feels clearer. Mornings feel lighter. Sometimes you simply notice that you are not waking with the same pressure in your chest. These changes are gentle, not dramatic. They grow quietly, like healing, like growth, like sunrise, slowly and then more clearly. As we walk further, I want you to continually remember, your room is more than furniture. It is the environment where your spirit recovers. Keep it clean, keep it aired, reduce unnecessary noise, let go of clutter that reminds you of stress. Make your sleeping space a place your heart looks forward to, not a battlefield where your mind continues fighting. Salt beneath the bed is just one symbol. The real transformation happens inside you. In the way you breathe, in the way you release, in the way you surrender each night. Rest is trust. Rest says, for these few hours, I will not carry the world on my shoulders. I will let peace hold me. This journey is gentle, no rushing, no pressure, just awareness, order, and quiet strength returning to your nights. And as nights become peaceful, days begin to feel different too. You think clearer. You react calmer, you speak softer, you begin to notice that you are not as easily shaken, because a rested soul becomes a stronger soul. As this practice becomes familiar, I want to help you understand something even deeper. Many times the heaviness we feel at night is not only from spiritual concerns, but from emotional and mental overload. The day fills us with conversations, pressure, expectations, disappointments, scrolling, bad news, comparisons, and silent worries we never speak out loud. Then we carry all of it into the night and expect our mind to instantly switch off. But the mind does not work like a light switch. It needs signals, habits, and gentle rituals that say it is time to rest now. Placing sea salt beneath your bed is one of those signals. Tea is like closing a door. It tells your heart the day is finished. Whatever happened belongs to the day. The night is not here to continue the battle. The night is here to restore you. But I want you to go beyond simply placing the salt. Pay attention to what is happening inside you while you do it. Ask yourself quietly, what am I still holding on to? Whose words are still echoing in my mind? What fear is still sitting on my chest? Sometimes when we become honest in these quiet moments, we realize we have been carrying anger, guilt, jealousy, regret, and fear that have been quietly draining us. And when we finally name them, they begin losing their power. Salt in this moment becomes like a reminder. What I name, I can release. What I release no longer controls me. There are people who lie down each night angry at someone. They rehearse arguments that never happened. They replay conversations again and again. And yet they wonder why their sleep never feels peaceful. Your soul cannot heal while it is fighting imaginary battles. Peace cannot enter where grudges live. Sometimes the true act of protection is forgiveness, not for the person who hurt you, but for your own heart that deserves rest. When you whisper, I let this go tonight, you are choosing freedom over bitterness. You are choosing sleep over struggle. If tears come, let them come. Tears are not weakness. Tears are the body's way of washing pain out. There are nights when the pillow becomes a place of cleansing. Do not be ashamed. Healing is often quiet, private, unseen. Salt beneath the bed simply stands there silently, like a witness that says, tonight, this is a safe place to release. When you wake lighter, it is not the salt that did it. It is your willingness to finally let go. I also want you to understand the importance of gratitude before sleep. Heaviness grows where gratitude is absent. When we lie down thinking only about what went wrong, our mind becomes dark. But when we take even a few seconds to say, thank you for the breath in my lungs, thank you for another day, thank you that I made it through, something softens inside. Gratitude opens the door for peace. So after placing the salt, take one moment and think of at least one thing from the day you are thankful for, no matter how small. Gratitude turns your bed into a place of blessing, not complaint. There will be nights when you still feel restless. That is normal. Healing is not always instant. Sometimes the mind needs time to learn a new rhythm. Do not become discouraged and do not turn the ritual into pressure. You are not performing. You are not trying to force results. You are simply creating space for peace to grow. Even if it feels slow, trust the process. Every night of intentional rest is like adding another brick to the foundation of your inner strength. And remember this, your worth is not measured by how much you accomplish in one day. Many people cannot sleep because they feel they have failed. They lie down with shame, thinking they should have done more, achieved more, proved more. Night becomes a courtroom where they judge themselves. But nighttime is not for judgment. Nighttime is for mercy. Allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to rest even when the day did not go as planned. You are not a machine, you are a soul. Souls need gentleness. If at any point this practice begins to feel heavy, fearful, obsessive, or confusing, pause. Take the salt away for a while. Sit quietly and simply breathe. Peace should never feel like pressure. True rest does not create fear. True rest brings clarity, calm, and quiet strength. Anything that drives you into fear is not guiding you correctly. Your heart will always know the difference between peace and superstition. Slowly, you will begin to notice patterns. You may fall asleep faster. You may dream more peacefully. You may wake without that invisible weight pressing down on your chest. Sometimes you simply feel more grounded, more centered, more aware of your inner world. These are small signs that your nervous system is finally learning safety again. And when the body feels safe, the soul can finally breathe. Let every night become a gentle conversation between you and peace. Let every placement of the salt remind you, I am not carrying this into tomorrow. I am allowed to rest. I am protected not because of objects, but because my heart has learned to surrender. As this nightly rhythm becomes part of your life, I want you to understand another layer of wisdom. Protection is not only about what is around you, but also about what is within you. There are times when people feel attacked not because something outside is against them, but because their own thoughts have turned into enemies. Worry repeats, doubt repeats, old memories replay like broken records. And slowly, the mind becomes a battlefield where there is no rest. When you place the sea salt beneath your bed, let it remind you that every night is an invitation to step out of that battlefield. Imagine gently closing the door on everything that does not belong to your peace. Not pushing, not forcing, just closing the door. Whatever does not serve your healing can stay outside the night. This quiet decision creates an inner boundary. Boundaries are protection. Boundaries say, my heart deserves peace, my mind deserves quiet. There are people who spend their nights scrolling endlessly on their phones, comparing their lives to others. They lie down feeling small, inadequate, behind, unseen. Comparison steals joy, and where joy is stolen, heaviness grows. Before sleep, keep your space simple. Dim the lights, put the phone aside, let silence return. Silence is not empty. Silence is medicine for the soul. The salt beneath the bed sits quietly in that silence, reminding you that peace does not shout. Peace whispers. Sometimes as you rest, thoughts may come saying, what if tomorrow goes wrong? What if I fail again? What if something bad happens? When these thoughts appear, do not argue with them. Do not fight them. Simply say gently inside yourself, not tonight. Those two words are powerful. Not tonight. Tonight is for rest. Tomorrow will meet you when it comes. You do not solve life at 2 a.m. You heal by allowing yourself to breathe. There may also be moments when old fears rise. Childhood memories, embarrassments, pain you thought you had forgotten. Night has a way of revealing what the day hides. When that happens, remind yourself, I am safe now. I am no longer in that moment. I am here. I am breathing. I am held by peace. The salt under the bed is only a symbol, but your awareness is real. Awareness breaks the grip of old fear. If you live with others, family, children, spouse, this practice can even become a quiet culture of peace in your home. Not something dramatic, not something mystical, just a reminder that night belongs to calm. You can speak gently to your household. Let us keep our nights peaceful. Let us resolve what we can during the day, and whatever remains, we leave in God's hands and rest. A peaceful home creates peaceful hearts. There will be nights when you feel deeply protected, not because of the salt, but because something inside you finally trusts again. Trust is a shelter. Trust allows you to sleep. Trust says, even when I do not understand everything, I believe I am guided and cared for. When trust grows, fear loses its voice. And when fear loses its voice, sleep becomes deeper. At the same time, never forget to keep your life practical. Rest is also supported by healthy habits. Reducing heavy meals before bed, avoiding too much caffeine late at night, keeping your room cool and clean, talking about your worries with someone safe instead of carrying them alone. Spiritual wisdom and practical wisdom walk together. Salt beneath the bed is a symbol. Your choices are the real foundation. If ever someone tells you that without salt you are unprotected, remember what I am teaching you now. Peace is not dependent on objects. Peace flows from order, trust, gratitude, honesty, and release. The salt is only there to help your heart remember what it already knows. You are not bound to rituals. You are guided by wisdom. Little by little, night after night, your body will begin to recognize this rhythm. Prepare gently, place the salt, breathe, release, give thanks, sleep. And in the morning, when you wake, pay attention to the small changes, clearer thoughts, lighter emotions, softer reactions. These are the quiet testimonies that rest has begun to heal you. This journey is not about perfection. Some nights will feel peaceful, others may still feel restless. But every night you choose peace, you are choosing to honor your soul. And that decision, repeated slowly and consistently, becomes one of the greatest protections you can ever have. As you continue practicing this nightly ritual, it is important to understand the connection between intention and energy. Everything we do carries energy, not in a mystical sense, but in the way our thoughts and focus shape our experience. When you place the salt beneath your bed with hurried or doubtful thoughts, it becomes a meaningless action. But when you place it with calm, with awareness, with a clear intention to release what no longer serves you, the simple act begins to communicate with your mind and heart. It tells your subconscious, this is a safe night. I am choosing to let go. And that message alone can begin to transform the way you sleep. Intentionality is key. Before you place the salt, take a moment to close your eyes and breathe. Visualize the heaviness lifting from your body. Imagine the pressure leaving your chest and settling into the earth. You may notice tension leaving your shoulders, jaw relaxing, and your thoughts slowing down. Do not rush this visualization. Even 1 minute of focused awareness amplifies the effectiveness of this simple ritual. Now, consider the timing. Night is a sacred transition from activity to rest. It is the time when the mind naturally begins to slow, when the body prepares for repair, and when the spirit quietly opens to renewal. By placing the salt at this specific time, you align with a natural rhythm. You are not creating power, you are cooperating with it. Life has rhythms, and learning to honor them multiplies the results of any practice. This is why rituals performed randomly often feel empty. Timing and intentionality work together to strengthen your connection to peace. As the salt rests beneath your bed, you may notice small changes in your breathing. Sometimes the chest feels lighter. Sometimes the heart beats more evenly. These subtle changes signal that the body is responding to calm. You do not need to force deep breathing exercises or meditations unless you want to. Just noticing and allowing these small sensations can be profoundly restorative. The salt is a physical reminder, but the true work is happening within you, in your awareness, in your surrender, in your willingness to rest. Some nights you may find your mind still wandering. That is normal. Do not fight it. Simply return your focus gently to the intention of the practice. Remind yourself quietly, I release, I rest, I am safe. Repeat these phrases softly in your mind as many times as needed. Think of them as gentle affirmations, not commands. They do not demand immediate transformation. They simply guide the mind back to peace. Over time, the repetition creates a rhythm your subconscious begins to recognize. Peace then becomes easier to access, not because of the salt, but because of your growing consistency in practice. Another aspect to consider is the importance of environment. Nighttime rest is influenced by the space you inhabit. Keep your room clean, organized, and quiet. Remove distractions that compete for your attention. A tidy space signals your mind that the night is for restoration. The salt becomes a marker within this environment. It reminds you that the space has been intentionally prepared. Symbolic actions combined with practical preparation create the conditions for deep restorative sleep. Now, some people worry about what if it doesn't work, or what if nothing changes? It is important to understand that effectiveness is measured quietly, subtly, and gradually. You may not feel dramatic shifts on the first night. That is normal. The practice is cumulative. Each night you approach it with calm, intention, and awareness, the more your body and mind learn to recognize safety and stillness. Transformation is rarely instant. Patience is part of the ritual. Trust the process. Give yourself grace. As you continue with this practice, begin to notice patterns in your sleep and energy. Which nights feel the most peaceful? Which days before sleep left you tense? Reflect on these patterns gently, without judgment. This reflection itself is part of the ritual. Awareness strengthens the mind's ability to release. When the mind notices, the heart follows. When the heart follows, the soul rests. It is a chain of quiet, intentional, cumulative effect. Finally, remember that protection comes from within. The salt is symbolic. It is not a shield against the world. True protection comes from the strength you cultivate through intention, awareness, honesty, and the courage to release. Night after night, as you practice, your body, mind, and spirit begin to align. Sleep becomes not only a physical rest, but a spiritual restoration. You wake lighter, calmer, and more prepared to face life with clarity and strength. This is the gift of intentional rest. And the reason this simple act can change your nights as you continue practicing this nightly ritual, it is also important to understand the role of consistency. One night of placing the salt beneath your bed may bring awareness, but the real transformation comes from repeated practice. Night after night, your mind begins to learn a new pattern. This is a time for release, for rest, for peace. Habits shape the nervous system more than intentions alone. By showing your mind and body consistently that you honor the night as sacred, you are teaching yourself how to rest naturally. This repetition is where true strength begins. While the ritual is simple, there are ways to deepen its effect. After placing the salt, take a few moments to breathe slowly and intentionally. Inhale deeply through the nose, feel your chest expand. Hold for a second and exhale fully through the mouth. As you do this, silently say, I release, I rest, I am safe. This helps anchor your mind in the present, preventing it from replaying past events or worrying about tomorrow. Breathing intentionally turns a simple symbolic act into a holistic experience for body, mind, and spirit. You may also choose to add a short reflection or gratitude moment before sleep. Consider the day that has passed. What went well? What challenged you? And what you are thankful for? Even a single thought of gratitude shifts your inner environment from tension to openness. It is not the salt alone that brings calm. It is the combination of intention, awareness, and gratitude that allows your mind to let go. Peace is not a passive state. It is cultivated gently through choice. Some nights may still feel heavy, and that is part of the process. Your mind and body have carried long-standing tension, emotional baggage, and unresolved thoughts. Healing does not happen in a single night. Do not become discouraged if you feel restless. Simply acknowledge the heaviness, breathe through it, and remind yourself that the night is for rest. Over time, the weight will lessen and sleep will deepen. Patience and persistence are part of the journey. It is also important to avoid attaching fear or superstition to this practice. Some people mistakenly believe that if they do not place the salt, they are unprotected or in danger. This is not true. Protection comes from within, from the awareness and intentionality you cultivate. The salt is a tool, not a requirement for safety. Approach it calmly, without pressure or anxiety. Your inner world is the true source of protection, and your awareness of peace is the most powerful shield you have. For those living with family or in shared spaces, consider how your intention can influence the environment around you. Quietly and gently, maintain a space of calm before sleep. Encourage moments of reflection, gratitude, and release within the home. Even subtle shifts in atmosphere combined with your personal ritual create a collective sense of peace that enhances the rest of everyone sharing the space. Peace is contagious when practiced intentionally. In addition, be mindful of external factors that influence sleep. Reduce exposure to bright screens before bed. Avoid stimulating conversations or activities that keep the mind active. Create an environment that signals rest, dim lighting, comfortable bedding, and a tidy room. The salt works best in an environment that supports calm. Rituals and practical habits together allow the body to fully receive rest and the mind to let go of accumulated tension. Finally, recognize that your inner dialogue during this time matters. Speak gently to yourself. Replace harsh judgments with reminders of patience and care. If anxious thoughts arise, observe them without attachment and return to the rhythm of your breath. Each night you practice this, you reinforce a deeper sense of safety and calm. Slowly, the nervous system recalibrates. The heart feels lighter and the soul becomes accustomed to rest. This is the profound effect of consistent, intentional practice. Through these simple yet powerful actions, placing the salt, breathing intentionally, practicing gratitude, and creating a calm environment, you are not only improving sleep, but nurturing your inner life. Over time, you will notice subtle changes in clarity, mood, and energy. These small, consistent steps create a foundation for spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. The act is symbolic, but the effect is very real. Your nights become sacred, your sleep restorative, and your mornings filled with renewed strength. As you continue this practice, I want you to understand the importance of presence. Many people go through rituals mechanically without truly being aware of what they are doing. They place the salt beneath the bed, say a quick word, and lie down, expecting results to magically appear. But rest, protection, and peace do not come from doing something mechanically. They come from being fully present in the moment, fully aware of your intention, and fully conscious of the choice to release. Presence is the bridge between action and transformation. When you are present, you notice subtle changes in your body and mind. Your shoulders may relax, your heart rate may slow, your breathing may become more even. Even small signs matter. They signal that your body is responding, that your nervous system is receiving cues of calm, and that your soul is beginning to trust again. The salt is simply a tool to help you focus, but the real work happens in your awareness. Another key point is intention. Every night before placing the salt, remind yourself why you are doing this. Not out of fear, not because someone told you it must be done, but because you value rest, peace, and protection. Say quietly in your mind, tonight, I release what does not belong to me. I allow peace to enter. I am safe. This declaration, simple as it may seem, helps anchor your practice. Repetition of intention strengthens the subconscious mind and reinforces the belief that you are cared for and protected. Sometimes the mind resists. Old habits of worry and restlessness can surface even during this ritual. That is normal. Do not fight it. Simply return your focus to your intention, your breath, and your awareness. Imagine the tension leaving your body and dissolving into the earth. This visualization, repeated over nights, becomes a subconscious signal. Night is for restoration, not struggle. You are teaching your body and mind a new rhythm, slowly but surely. It is also important to understand that emotional release may occur during this practice. Sometimes sadness, anxiety, or tension that has been carried for years surfaces at night. This is a sign that healing is taking place. Observe these emotions without judgment. Allow them to pass. Your awareness is the greatest tool for processing and releasing what no longer serves you. The salt becomes a gentle companion in this journey, reminding you that your space is sacred and your heart deserves rest. Environment continues to play a critical role. Keep your bedroom clean, calm, and quiet. Avoid clutter that distracts or reminds you of stress. Dim the lights. Choose bedding that is comfortable. These small, practical steps amplify the symbolic power of the soul. They signal to your body that this is a space where rest is allowed and peace can enter. Rituals without supportive environment are limited. Combining both creates a holistic experience for mind, body, and soul. Consistency matters deeply. One night may feel different than the next, and that is normal. Do not be discouraged by variability. Over time, the nervous system learns to recognize the rhythm of rest, and sleep becomes increasingly restorative. Each night you repeat this practice, you reinforce a safe and intentional space for your mind and heart. Peace grows quietly, imperceptibly, and then suddenly becomes noticeable in subtle ways. A calmer mind, lighter emotions, a sense of security in the night. Finally, trust yourself. The most important protection you have is your awareness, intention, and ability to release. Salt is a tool to help anchor these qualities, not a substitute for them. With presence, intention, and consistency, your nights will become a sanctuary. You will wake feeling lighter, your heart calmer, and your mind clearer. This is the power of combining awareness with simple symbolic action, the true wisdom of rest and protection. As you progress with this practice, it is essential to understand the connection between rest and renewal. Many people underestimate how much their nights influence their days. When the mind carries tension into sleep, the body cannot fully repair and the heart cannot fully recover. This cumulative stress affects your clarity, decision-making, and emotional stability. By creating a deliberate night ritual with the sea salt, you are not only protecting your sleep, but actively nurturing your body, mind, and spirit. Sleep becomes a tool for renewal, not just a pause from life. Another layer to this practice is awareness of your thoughts. The salt is a physical reminder. At your mind is the real instrument of change. When old worries or negative thoughts arise, observe them without judgment, acknowledge their presence, then release them intentionally. You might whisper to yourself, these thoughts are not mine to carry tonight. I let them go. Repetition of this simple acknowledgement strengthens your subconscious ability to differentiate between what belongs to you and what is outside your control. This clarity is one of the most subtle and powerful forms of protection. Many people feel a sense of vulnerability at night. It is natural. Darkness, stillness, and quiet can amplify inner fears. The salt beneath your bed is a symbolic gesture of order and intention. It creates a boundary between the external pressures of the day and the inner sanctuary of rest. But the real strength comes from the trust you place in yourself. The trust that you are capable of letting go, capable of releasing tension, capable of allowing peace to enter. Each night, this trust grows, and with it, your resilience and confidence. It is also helpful to connect this ritual with gratitude. Before sleep, take a few moments to reflect on at least one positive thing from your day. Gratitude shifts the mind from scarcity and fear to abundance and peace. It reminds your subconscious that there is always something good, no matter how small. Combined with the act of placing salt, gratitude reinforces the message to your body and mind. Night is a safe place, rest is allowed, and protection comes from peace within. Some nights, you may still feel restless. This is part of the process. Do not judge yourself for the practice based on a single night. Change is gradual. The cumulative effect of consistent practice is where transformation lies. Over weeks and months, your nervous system recalibrates and rest becomes deeper, more restorative, and more natural. Trust the process and do not rush results. The rhythm of release is subtle, but its impact on your energy and clarity is profound. Another point to consider is mindfulness of your environment. Keep your room tidy, calm, and free of unnecessary noise. Even small adjustments, dimming lights, reducing clutter, or maintaining a comfortable temperature, help signal to your mind and body that the night is for restoration. The salt acts as a symbolic anchor, but the surrounding environment amplifies its effect. Together, intention and environment create the conditions for deep and protective rest. Finally, reflect on your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself gently. Remind yourself, I am safe, I am releasing, I am allowed to rest. Your thoughts, words, and intentions have more impact than any external object. The salt is a companion, not a solution. Peace, protection, and clarity come from your awareness, presence, and consistent practice. By aligning your mind, heart, and environment, your nights become sacred, your sleep restorative, and your mornings filled with renewed strength. As you deepen this nightly practice, I want you to reflect on the power of intention in everyday life. The salt beneath your bed is not just a nightly ritual. It is a symbol of the choices you make for your well-being. Every night you intentionally choose peace, order, and release. You are training your mind and body to respond differently. You are teaching yourself that rest is sacred, that boundaries are necessary, and that protection comes from awareness and deliberate action. The simplicity of this act carries profound lessons about the way you interact with your own life. Your energy matters more than you realize. Thoughts you carry into sleep are the energy that lingers overnight. Anger, frustration, worry, regret, all of these weigh heavily on the mind and body. When you practice placing the salt with calm, intentional breathing and a clear declaration of release, you are sending a signal to your nervous system that these energies are not welcome tonight. You are creating a safe container within which your mind, body, and spirit can relax. The ritual is not about superstition. It is about creating an environment for clarity and restoration. It is important to remember that consistency builds trust within yourself. Just as your body learns the rhythm of walking or running through repetition, your mind learns the rhythm of rest through consistent practice. Even if one night feels restless or heavy, the repetition over time will condition your subconscious to associate night with calm, peace, and safety. The salt is merely a tool to mark the moment, to remind you of your commitment to yourself, and to serve as a physical cue for your mind to slow down and release. During this process, you may notice emotions rising that you have suppressed for months or even years. These emotions might surface as dreams, restlessness, or sudden thoughts. Do not fear them. Observe them with compassion and allow them to pass. This is part of the healing journey. The salt beneath your bed becomes a quiet witness to this process, a reminder that your space is safe and that you have chosen to create conditions for restoration. Over time, your capacity to release emotional weight strengthens, and your nights become progressively lighter. Another element of this practice is grounding. When placing the salt beneath your bed, imagine that it connects you to the earth, not in a mystical sense, but as a mental image that encourages stability and balance. Visualization helps the mind focus, and the mind drives your emotional and physical states. By imagining heaviness sinking into the earth and dissolving, you actively participate in the process of release. The salt acts as a gentle anchor for tea. His visualization, a simple object to focus your awareness and intention. It is also crucial to cultivate patience. Transformation does not happen overnight. Some nights may feel more restful than others, and that is perfectly normal. Avoid judgment or frustration. Each night you practice intentionally, your body and mind are learning, even if the results are not immediately visible. Like planting seeds, the growth happens quietly beneath the surface. Over weeks and months, the accumulation of peaceful nights will manifest as lighter mornings, calmer thoughts, and greater emotional stability. Finally, integrate this awareness into your daily life. Nighttime rest is essential, but how you carry yourself during the day affects your night. Observe your thoughts, manage stress consciously, and allow yourself moments of pause. The lessons you learn from the salt ritual, intentionality, presence, release, and trust, can guide your waking hours as well. By aligning your day with these principles, the night becomes a natural continuation of a life led with awareness, calm, and inner protection. The salt may be under your bed, but the peace it represents is carried within your heart. As we move deeper into understanding the power of this practice, it's important to recognize the role of surrender. True protection and peace at night do not come from controlling everything around you, nor from worrying about what might happen. They come from the ability to surrender, to let go of the things you cannot change. Release the weight of yesterday and trust that your body and mind will restore themselves as they were designed to. Placing salt beneath your bed is an act of surrender. It is a gentle declaration to yourself. I am releasing what I cannot carry tonight. I am allowing rest to enter. Surrender does not mean weakness. On the contrary, surrender is strength. It takes courage to admit that you cannot control every thought, every emotion, or every outcome. By embracing surrender, you stop fighting yourself and the night. You stop replaying battles and regrets. Instead, you create a space where healing, clarity, and inner protection can emerge naturally. This is why the act of placing salt works best when done with conscious intention and heartfelt release, not out of fear, obligation, or superstition. Another layer of this practice is the alignment of mind, body, and spirit. Sleep is not just physical rest. It is a process of renewal for every aspect of your being. The mind processes emotions, the body repairs cells, and the spirit regains strength. When you intentionally prepare your environment, focus your awareness, and release tension, you are facilitating this natural alignment. The salt is simply a physical reminder that this sacred process is about to happen. It encourages the subconscious mind to accept rest and protection as part of your night. As you lie down, notice the small changes within you. Perhaps your shoulders relax, Perhaps your heartbeat slows. Perhaps the racing thoughts soften. These subtle signs indicate that the body and mind are responding to the ritual. Pay attention to them and let yourself sink further into calm. You do not need to force sleep. You do not need to control your dreams. Simply being present, being aware, and allowing the natural rhythm of rest to take over is enough. The salt is your companion in this process, not the source of power itself. There will be nights when emotions rise unexpectedly. Fear, sadness, anxiety, or even anger. Do not resist them. Do not judge yourself for feeling. Observe the emotions with gentle curiosity. Breathe through them and allow them to pass. Each night you practice in this way, your capacity to release emotional weight increases. Over time, the mind learns that night is a safe place. The heart learns that it can let go without fear, and the soul learns that it is allowed to be still. These lessons are far more powerful than any object or external ritual alone. Consistency remains crucial. One night may feel light, another heavy. Some nights may bring deep rest, others may feel restless. This variability is natural. The key is to maintain the rhythm of intention and release. By repeatedly showing your mind and body that night is for rest, your nervous system gradually recalibrates. Sleep becomes deeper, dreams become less turbulent, waking hours become calmer and more focused. Transformation happens subtly, quietly, and cumulatively. Finally, integrate the wisdom of this practice into your daily life. The lessons of intentionality, presence, surrender, and awareness are not limited to the night. Carry them into your waking hours. When stress arises, pause and breathe. When thoughts become overwhelming, acknowledge them and release. When decisions are needed, act with clarity and calm. The discipline you cultivate at night strengthens your life in ways you may not immediately notice. Nighttime rituals become a mirror for how you approach every moment of life with wisdom, calm, and protection.